Government contracts issued by the previous administration in Bermuda referred to police for criminal investigation. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, March 13. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. Former Bermuda Premier Dr. Ewart Brown has been named in 5 government contracts in which a commission of inquiry found evidence of possible criminal activity, and they have all been referred to the Bermuda Police Service to continue criminal investigation. The disclosure was made in the House of Assembly on Monday by Premier Michael Dunkley, who set up the commission to investigate issues raised in the Auditor General's report into the fiscal years 2009 to 2012, when the Progressive Labour Party was in power. Dunkley said the 4 commissioners cited Brown, who was Premier between 2006 and 2010, in 5 contracts. Former Works and Engineering Minister Derek Burgess was also named in 3 contracts where there was evidence of possible criminal activity. A number of other senior civil servants also came under fire for failing to follow rules on awarding contracts, although no disciplinary action was recommended. Premier Dunkley told the media after the disclosures in Parliament that the administration would use the report to help it improve how business within government is conducted.
Now it's up to us in the government to review the recommendations, which I've done briefly over the weekend, and I put in the body of what I've said here today to make sure that we up the level of compliance within government, take on board those recommendations, make changes that are necessary to ensure that at no time in the future do we have auditor report like that. Now, I'm pleased to say that last Friday the finance minister tabled the most recent statements to the end of March 2016, and it was a good report for the 4th year in a row, so we are making progress. But we have to pay attention to that damning auditor's report for those 3 years and to what the Commission says. And I've made the commitment in my statement on the floor of the House of Assembly today, and it's important that it was done there. This is the people's place to do their business, and we will follow through. And in regards to findings in the report of possible criminal activity, that will be up to the DPP and the Bermuda Police Service to take a look at it in the appropriate way.
The Guyana government is adamant there is no immunity against prosecution for former presidents who remain active in the country's politics. The comments come after former President Barra Jagdeo avoided answering questions at a hearing of the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU, which is investigating alleged misappropriation of government lands. Minister of State in the Ministry of the Prime Minister's Ministry, he's the Minister of State in the President's Ministry, that's Joseph Harmon, took questions on the issue of immunity.
Because you cannot commit an egregious type of act, which is something that an international court or anybody can deem to be as such, and still believe that nothing will happen.
The minister said that a constitution can be looked at in different ways. He says the view of the government is Article 182 of the Constitution makes provision for presidential immunity while the person is in office.
But the situation in Guyana has become so different that the anticipation, I believe, the expectation of the framers of our Constitution was that a president, once he leaves office, will basically have a more quiet, sedate life. But the situation again is totally different. You have people who had been in office as president and now in the National Assembly. So how could you claim those immunities while you are actively engaged in day-to-day politics?
Mr. Harmon said there is no basis for a former president to claim immunity while he is still in the middle of the political ring.
It's the same problem we'll have with a former president who writes almost every week in the newspapers and says things that need to be dealt with. But usually a president is given certain levels of courtesies. But if, in fact, by their action after they leave office, they descend into the arena, then I would say that you will have to be dealt with by the persons in the arena.
It is hoped that when the constitution reform process begins, presidential immunity will be one of the issues that will be looked at.
Still in Guyana, Finance Minister Winston Jordan says the country has recorded economic growth of 3.2%, and he has described the country's current financial status as a light of progress in the region. Jordan, who was speaking on a local radio program, said compared to some countries in the region that are experiencing financial turbulence, Guyana is in good stead.
Last year, at November, we projected growth at about 2.6%. The good news is that with the actual numbers coming in now, the economy actually grew 3.2% last year, which was better than in 2015. Of course, led by gold, but there are some good showing in the agricultural sector, in the other crops sector, and a last push towards the last half of the year in the implementation of the public sector program gave us a little bump over the edge.
Jordan acknowledged that there were challenges with the foreign reserves, but he said the situation has improved.
We still maintain we have reserves in excess of 600 million, which, would you believe it, is almost equal to Barbados' reserves. The commercial banks also have adequate reserves. So the issue of foreign exchange shortage either contrived or, as we indicated, some problems were in there. And we tried to solve those out. The rate, I heard, is more or less stabilized around, albeit a depreciated currency. We were, for a long time, around 210. I think now it's ranging between 210 and 215. But at least more and more people are reporting as they go to the banks, they are getting foreign exchange, although not large sums. And that's
Haiti's Prime Minister Dr. Jacques-Guy Lafontaine has outlined his priorities to Parliament. They include consolidating public finances, reducing expenditure, and ensuring sustained economic growth and sustainable development in the French-speaking CARICOM nation. In his general policy statement to Parliament, Lafontaine said the effects of the economic and financial crisis continue to affect the global economy, and countries need to implement courageous reforms to combat waste and direct resources, mainly towards programs to improve the living conditions of citizens. Lafontaine, who was appointed soon after newly elected President Jovenel Moïse was sworn into office last month, said his policy statement is inspired by Moïse's campaign promises and is intended to face the challenges of economic recovery and the structural strengthening of the country. We stay in Haiti, where a manhunt is underway for a bus driver accused of causing the death of 38 people and injuring 13 others in a hit-and-run on Sunday. The police report that the bus first hit 2 pedestrians, killing 1 on the spot, but the driver did not stop. He continued driving and then plowed into a band of street musicians, leaving dozens dead. According to one eyewitness, people were still trapped under the bus when it finally stopped. Angry survivors tried to set the bus on fire even as passengers were still inside, but quick intervention from police averted further tragedy. The bus was traveling from Cap-Haïtien to Port-au-Prince at the time of the incident. President Jovenel Moïse has ordered an immediate investigation into the incident. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, a trade union gives the Trinidad and Tobago government an ultimatum. We'll tell you what the bone of contention is after the break.
Play at the 50th edition of Antigua Sailing Week. Not a sailor, not a problem. Chase the race from the best beach locations and party in the ocean. On our beaches, a different one each day. Take a drink, take another. Hula, play, dance in the sand. Dance to reggae, to soca, to the beat of your own drum under the moonlight. 7 beach days and party nights. Come play at the 50th edition of Antigua Sailing Week, April 29th to May 7th, 2017. Are you up for the challenge?
Have you or someone you know been diagnosed with diabetes? If so, it is important that you know about Glucerna. Glucerna is a nutritional supplement for people with diabetes and contains Carb Steady, which helps minimize blood sugar spikes. Manage your diabetes with Glucerna. Glucerna, nutrition for people with diabetes, designed for you.
Round Hay Pharmacy now has 2 locations to fill your prescriptions promptly and efficiently. Our branch at One Accord Plaza is open daily, including Sundays and bank holidays. Also, check out our new drive-through location at Warren's Healthcare Complex in Michael, the first and only drive-through pharmacy in Barbados. For more information, call Round Hay One Accord Plaza at 421-7863 and our new drive-through branch at Warren's in Michael at 424-5574.
A major union in Trinidad and Tobago is warning of militant action if authorities do not reverse the decision to close down the Tourism Development Company. The Communication Workers Union, the CWU, says it is prepared to engage in whatever action is necessary to protect the interests of workers. Not only has CWU President Joseph Remy given the government until next Monday to roll back the decision to replace the TDC with 2 separate entities, but the union also wants Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley to dismiss Tourism Minister Shamfa Cudjoe over the plan. Cudjoe had announced the decision last Thursday, which she said was aimed at developing the tourism sector in the Twin Island Republic. She said, in addition to Tobago and Trinidad, each having separate tourism entities, a regulatory authority would be created to manage and monitor standards for the sector. But the union, which represents the 150 employees at the TDC, said it was not consulted about the decision. The president said he had received a call from the minister late Thursday, during which she indicated a decision relative to the TDC was taken, and she wanted to inform him of that decision before he found out from the media. He said that conversation lasted less than 2 minutes and was not any consultation. The union president also charged that the decision reeked of, and I quote, anti-union, anti-worker tendencies, end of quote. But tourism stakeholders have a totally different view of the plan. The Trinidad Hotels, Restaurants and Tourism Association is one of them. And we get more in this report from CNC3.
CEO of the Hotels, Restaurants and Tourism Association says they saw it coming.
October 2016, after the budget, we did write the Minister of Tourism and the Ministry indicating our observations about significant financial cuts to the allocations to TDC. It was at least $10 million reduction. Signaled to us that there may have been a decision to either reduce or even dismantle or maybe even dissolve the TDC.
He says they have always recognized the importance of selling both islands separately.
There's a different consumer market. So for Tobago, 50% of their arrivals come from the UK and European states. And in Trinidad, over 40% of arrivals to Trinidad come from the US. So we have distinct products and we have distinct customers. So the theme of separating the destination market is one that we have been endorsing and advocating for.
However, the association is worried the transformation takes too long, citing that tourism locally is declining at a time the region's tourism is performing well.
We've seen a significant 7% decline year-on-year from 2015 to 2016. We have collectively as the hotel sector in Trinidad lost $9 million US in revenue. Occupancy has dropped by 9% from 66% to 60% as of December 2016. We are one of 6 CPO destinations that experienced a decline in arrivals in 2016, and that means 22 other countries in the Caribbean experienced growth.
We move over to Barbados, where the main opposition Barbados Labour Party on Saturday increased pressure on Prime Minister Frendel Stewart to call an early election. An estimated 10,000 people participated in what was dubbed the March of Disgust. Led by opposition leader Mia Motley and other members of the BLP, the message to the government was, enough is enough. A general election is constitutionally due in Barbados next year. Addressing the thousands gathered in Bridgetown after the march, Motley said it was clear that Barbadians want a change of government, and she's confident of a win for the BLP in the next general elections.
I understand what you want from me, and you understand what you want me to say and do. This Barbados Labour Party is not a fly-by-night organization. It is not. We have been around for 78 years. And notwithstanding all the noises that you are hearing from a few political chihuahuas or chipmunks, people who the cap needs to fit, the only real alternative to the Frondel-Stewart government is the Barbados Labour Party. Let us get it straight. And I don't need to wait on a cadre's poll or any other poll to tell me that Bajans want change now.
But George Pilgrim, General Secretary of the ruling Democratic Labour Party, charged that Barbadians were paid to participate in the march. The opposition had since rubbished that claim. And ahead in Newsline Sport, legendary West Indies all-rounder Sir Gary Sobers has advice for the regional squad. Stay with us. Sport is next.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the colour of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
Round Hay Pharmacy now has 2 locations to fill your prescriptions promptly and efficiently. Our branch at One Accord Plaza is open daily, including Sundays and bank holidays. Also, check out our new drive-through location at Warren's Healthcare Complex in Michael, the first and only drive-through pharmacy in Barbados. For more information, call Round Hay One Accord Plaza at 421-7863 and our new drive-through branch at Warren's in Michael at 424-5574.
The jonkonu's fife, the rhythm of the drum, the strum of the pan, the lilt of the voice from island to mainland, all pigments and tones, old and young, his and hers, all we are one. You, we, me. This is Yui TV.
We begin our Monday sport with cricket. Legendary West Indies all-rounder Sir Gary Sobers has urged the current crop of Windies players to follow the example set by England stroke maker Joe Root. The 80-year-old said the players lacked motivation and application, qualities which he identified in the New England Test captain. Sir Gary, who witnessed the 186-run humbling defeat at the Oval last Thursday, said there were definite question marks over the team's commitment. He said, and I quote, "I don't know what motivates them at this stage, but as a cricketer myself, I always felt that when you are playing for your country, it doesn't matter what cricket you're playing. You should always be motivated and trying to do your best. Whether it is Test cricket or 2020, you shouldn't have to pick out one from the other." End of quote. 26-year-old Root has emerged as one of the finest players of his generation and has already gathered 4,594 runs from 53 tests at an average of 52 since making his debut 5 years ago. He has dominated all 3 formats of the game and averaged 47 from 83 one-day internationals and 40 in 24 T20s. Root was a key member of the side which whitewashed West Indies 3-0 in the recent one-day internationals, scoring an unbeaten 90 in the second game and 101 in the final on Kensington Oval. Guyana Jaguars, Barbados Pride and TNT Red Force all picked up wins at the end of round 6. That's the end of action in round 6 in the regional 4-day competition. All-rounder Raymond Reefer picked the ideal time to grab his second first-class 5-wicket haul as he led Guyana to victory by 7 wickets. The left-arm seamer claimed 5 for 60 to send Jamaica Scorpions tumbling for an inadequate 188 in their second innings, but the Jaguars lost 3 wickets in their runs chase on Monday, with Reefer and Vishal Singh remaining unbeaten on 37 and 63 respectively, while Shimon Hetmeyer chipped in with 42. Over to Bridgetown now, where host Barbados Pride destroyed Leeward Islands Hurricanes by an innings on 26 runs. The Hurricanes were forced to follow on after they were dismissed for 163 and 124 on Monday, chasing Pride's first innings total of 313. Shamar Brooks top scored with 63 for Barbados. Fast bowler Kimar Roach picked up 4 wickets for 18, while Roston Chase had figures of 2 for 37. And in St. George's, Windward Islands Volcanoes were beaten by 172 runs by Red Force, resuming on 63 for 1 and requiring an unlikely 374 victory on the final day. Volcanoes capitulated on 202, with Devon Smith failing. He was falling just short of a half-century, while Shane Shillingford chipped in with 46. All-rounder Imran Khan and Brian Charles grabbed 9 wickets between them in the second innings. Khan picked up 5 for 67, while Charles had 4 wickets for 79 runs. Distinguished TNT-born journalist Sir Trevor MacDonald has paid tribute to the life of cricket legend Sir Frank Worrell, who was the first black West Indies cricket captain. Sir Worrell was remembered last Friday ahead of the 50th anniversary of his passing. The international broadcaster was among several cricket enthusiasts at a recent awards ceremony in Trinidad and Tobago for people who made an impact to the game. Mahalia Joseph of C Sports has more in this report.
In 2007, a small group of cricket enthusiasts in Trinidad and Tobago, who were concerned with the continued decline in West Indies cricket, decided that they should seek to make a contribution, however small it may be, to preserve the history of the game, according to the chairman of the Sir Frank Worrell Committee, Ainsworth Harewood.
It was decided, therefore, that one could assist in filling this void by evoking memories of Sir Frank Worrell and the tremendous impact he has had on the evolution of the game and indeed on the regional community.
Sir Frank Worrell was knighted in 1964 for his contribution to the game of cricket.
The committee's choice of Sir Frank as a conduit was also influenced by the fact that the group included individuals who had not only shared a deep admiration of him, but had also been associated with him in various ways as members of staff or students at the Jamaica and Trinidad campuses of the University of the West Indies.
The featured speaker for the award ceremony, Sir Trevor MacDonald, said he admired many things about Sir Frank, but only a few stood out.
I admired most of all about him the stoic dignity with which Frank and his contemporaries bore the official tardiness in the appointment of the first black West Indies captain. I talked to Frank about it many times. He shrugged and smiled and then laughed loudly. Frank was incapable of bitterness and of harboring any grudges.
He said the continuation of the lecture would ensure that the mark Sir Frank Worrell left would always be remembered.
And I know that Frank would have been absolutely flattered to think that he was so remembered. He would think that you had probably gone a bit over the top, because that was him. He was unassuming to the core.
At Friday's ceremony, Sir Everton Weeks was presented with the Sir Frank Worrell Memorial Nobel Spirit Award. The award is given to any cricketer, cricket administrator, or anyone who contributed significantly to the game.
Trinidad and Tobago began life under new coach Dennis Lawrence with a win as they beat Barbados 2-0 in an international friendly on Friday night. TV6's Vinod Nawani was at the Otto Boldon Stadium and filed this report.
The visiting Bajans took on Trinidad and Tobago in a warm-up at the Otto Boldon Stadium, with new TNT coach Dennis Lawrence getting a chance to see what the men in red, white and black could do on the night. TNT came close to scoring following the corner, but the ball hit the woodwork. But there was another opportunity for the home side to draw first blood, and it was hard to fathom how that one did not go in. Respite for Barbados. However, there was no denying TNT in the opening half as substitute Jamil Boatswain collected a long ball, evaded his marker and fired home. His rasping shot gave the keeper no chance, 1-0 to the hosts. Barbados also found the net from the set piece, but it was not legit, and TNT remained in the lead. Then, following a neat little build-up, TNT doubled up in the same half. It was Boatswain again who scored, 2-0 in favour of the Twin Island nation. After the interval, chances were created, but TNT couldn't put in the finishing touches. In the end, it finished TNT 2, Barbados 0, and this is what coach Lawrence had to say.
In regards to the game, I was quite pleased with a lot of the things, and then I was also displeased with some of the things. I thought the boys tried to implement some of the things that we've worked on, one in particular trying to maintain possession of the ball. I think in the second half, probably in the last 25-30 minutes, we lost a bit of direction in regards to keeping the ball with purpose, and we just started to keep the ball for keeping it safe, but that will come with time. It's a young group. This is the first time they've had the opportunity of playing against a different opposition. But in general, I was pleased with the attitude of the boys. I was pleased with the effort that they tried to do the things that we asked them to do.
TNT are preparing for their World Cup qualifiers later this month against Panama and Mexico. Vinod Narwani, TV6 Sport.
And that's the sport. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Round Hay Pharmacy now has 2 locations to fill your prescriptions promptly and efficiently. Our branch at One Accord Plaza is open daily, including Sundays and bank holidays. Also, check out our new drive-through location at Warren's Healthcare Complex in Michael, the first and only drive-through pharmacy in Barbados. For more information, call Round Hay One Accord Plaza at 421-7863 and our new drive-through branch at Warren's in Michael at 424-5574.
Awards for Excellence invites nominations for its next awards cycle in the categories Arts and Letters, Science and Technology, Public and Civic Contributions, and Entrepreneurship. Join the growing college of distinguished laureates from throughout the region we've honored in the last decade. Visit www.answercaribbeanawards.com for forms and instructions. Nominations close on March 31st.
Today on 21st Century, a global epidemic, death on the world's roads. Can we bring the numbers down?
She was a rambunctious, happy little girl, and she'd stand up on the 44 bus and sing "The Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round."
1.25 million deaths on the world's roads every year.
Again, the major developments of this day: government contracts issued under the previous administration in Bermuda referred to police for criminal investigation. And in sport, legendary West Indies all-rounder Sir Gary Sobers says West Indies players lack motivation and application. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. You do have yourselves a good night.